Good Friday morning, guys. My name is Jerry Miller, and welcome to Real Talk. This is an insider's guide to real estate, life, and the pursuit of happiness. It's presented by the Yes Team Realtors. A lot we're going to cover on today's show. Thank you kindly for joining us. My friend Keith Smith, why don't we welcome him to the broadcast with the studio camera. Judah Wickhauer is our director. You got a guy that is quite busy right now. COVID having a significant impact on the bicycle industry, Keith Smith. Good morning, by the way.
Good morning to you, brother. Look, I'm getting into biking, so my wife Shawn is loving the fact that I walk into his shop periodically. My wife, not so much. But I got to thinking, when we were talking about trying to buy a new bike and trying to buy different parts, on how difficult it is for him to get product for folks. And it made me relate back to what we do for a living, right? Real estate. So I just thought it'd be a great little chat with Shawn, and more importantly, they're awesome people. They do awesome things for our community. As you know, we try to bring in local folks, the local business owners that just are really awesome folks and do awesome things for the community. So I'm looking forward to hearing what he has to say, and then we'll get a little bit later. But so everybody knows, I bought Jerry his own little whiteboard. I
have one.
His own little whiteboard.
Mine's purple.
Okay, would you like the gray one?
No. I like it. It's okay. I can have a purple whiteboard.
Is it that important to you?
I really like this. Can I keep this?
No.
You're going to take it?
I'm going to maintain it. You can keep. You can look at. I'll tell you what.
Your other one you gave me is here, and I'm going to try to figure out a way to work the whiteboards into the show.
That's the reason I gave that to you.
Yeah.
Our chemistry is starting, and it's not even. And you can keep it.
You, my friend, this is a very good idea. Initially, I was concerned of how it was going to play out. But the more that I think about it, I'm like, I think Smith is onto something.
Well, so it's not me.
Oh, it was your daughter?
It's my 26-year-old kindergarten teacher.
Via Zoom.
Daughter.
Yeah.
Was using it, and my little brain went, we can incorporate that into the show.
It doesn't work on Instagram.
But it will once I get my 12, though.
Will it work for me?
You have to. What version is that?
Mine's the same as yours.
Is it a 9?
Yeah.
You need a 12.
Well, no. Mine's not a 9. Is there an 11?
There's an 11.
Okay, because it goes one number. Okay. This is normally you say stuff like that.
That's this plus 1. That's this many plus 1.
Call me out.
My name is
Normally
Jerry.
you do these things. All right. So I have the 11.
Would you like me to write it down on the whiteboard?
Why don't we do it on the whiteboard? Here's the first whiteboard.
The whiteboard. Look at this. Shawn, we'll get to you, buddy, after we finish our little routine here.
Andre Xavier, welcome to the broadcast. Iris Luck,
that's this
hello.
many. That's this many.
11.
And if you turn it upside down, it's still kind of close.
Hey, Harry Tyson sent me a friend request.
Accept it.
Okay, I just hit confirm. Harry Tyson, hello. That's your son-in-law.
That is my son-in-law.
He sent me a friend request. We're now homies on Facebook.
You know what? He's an outstanding individual. Very happy to have him as a son-in-law.
Wow, okay.
Very happy.
You usually razz him a little bit on the show.
No. He's working his little tushkas off. He's working from home. His wife, my daughter, our daughter is back to working, doing a makeup artistry in the city. So she's traveling to the city every morning. So he's working from home and taking care of little Harry. And,
wow. Props to you, Harry.
Hats off to him. And no, I'm not coming up to babysit.
Did you just do that?
We did, actually, yeah.
You just did that. You had a good time. All right, I'm going to reach out to Shawn. Tell me why... Tell me why you said, you know what, Shawn's going to be a great guest on the show.
We're people. I was having a conversation with them, and we actually went for whatever. I saw a picture of a bass, of a striped bass on and I love to fish. I love to fish on the bay, and we went from bikes to fishing, and just clicked it off. I think he's going to be a great guest.
I love it.
I know he's going to be a great guest.
He's on the line now. Judah Wickhauer is our director. I'm getting a thumbs up from him to welcome you, Shawn. Looks like you're at the shop. I love that. I love the authenticity. All right, so here's how it's going to work. I'm gonna turn the computer around and show you Keith. Before I do, how about introduce yourself to everybody before we talk shop? Just personal, Shawn. What are you all about?
Obviously the owner of Blue Ridge Cyclery here at the shop today. It's another work day for us. Trying to find enough stuff to help everybody with. Outside of the bike shop world, I'm also into fishing, the outdoors, riding a bike myself. I've got 3 wonderful kids at home with my wife today. She's doing the homeschooling thing with all of them, obviously, this year, which is proving to be a bit challenging too, for sure. So it's not an easy world for all of us.
So, Shawn, don't tell my wife I'm eyeing up that new bike when you and I were talking.
Which bike is it?
I don't want to put Yonna.
Yeah, I know nothing about
You know
it.
nothing
I know nothing about it.
Yeah. If Yonna saw the zeros after the first number, she'd get a little upset. But
Yeah,
I felt
for an additional $10, we can put whatever price on the receipt you need. So
See, I told you it'd be a great interview.
Shawn, that was good.
All right, and we talk size of fish, right? We lie a little bit about that. So man, a mutual friend of ours, Quentin Beckham, loves your bike. He got me into biking, and a little story about myself and to getting into biking. I'm a recovering marathon runner, as you and I chatted, and so about 4 or 5 months ago, or actually right after the beginning of this COVID mess, I came into the shop and said, "Hey, let me buy a bike," and then I found out that buying a bike is almost like trying to buy a house today. There's just no inventory. But do me a favor.
That's right, for sure. Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about business. How's it going? How you guys managing through this COVID-19, and then we'll kind of pick it up from there.
Yeah, so it's an interesting world for bicycling right now, for sure. For trying to run a bike shop, especially going into the late winter, early spring. COVID just getting started up. We had ramped up our inventory and our product. We had everything that we needed, we thought, to carry us through the June, July period, as far as bikes and inventory, parts and inventory, things built and ready. All of our vendors kind of felt the same thing. Trek's our primary brand that we work with, but we also do Cannondale and Salsa and a few other brands. Everybody thought that the industry was going to be okay to weather everything going through, the May, June type time frame. COVID hit, shutdowns happened. All of a sudden, every form of exercise that's indoors isn't available to folks, and they start looking for ways to get outside and to find some activities. I think that every parent that was at home trying to work from home on Zoom was like, I got to get my kid out of my Zoom meeting. I got to get him on a bicycle. I got to find something to do to get him out from under my feet. And the inventory that we thought was going to carry through May, June all went away basically in the March, April timeframe, and early April. With it, we were scrambling to try to find more bikes, get bikes in, get them built. The industry ran out very quickly. The shutdowns for manufacturing made a big difference as far as just having product available to come into the country. And that has now spilled over into more than just the bicycle availability. It's spilled over into things that are, basic commodity type items, helmets, tires. For a while, we couldn't get certain sizes of bicycle tubes. We're still running into some difficulties even for some of that. And so we've been kind of treading waters, what I would say it feels like. Normally we have 3-4 vendors that we work with. We can get everything we need from all of them, and we don't have to kind of expand where we find product from. This year we've had to expand to using almost 18 different vendors in order to try to obtain things like tubes and things like derailleurs.
Wow.
Peak time for us, we were having waits of almost 4 weeks for bicycle repair.
Wow.
Which that's normally peak we go to is about 2 weeks. And then I get all kinds of frustrated, and I'm in the shop late at night fixing things and making sure everything's ready to go for customers. And this year, even my behaviors like that couldn't get us under the 4-week mark. It definitely stayed a long repair time. That's come back down now. Some of the demand has slowed a little bit with the fall getting here. We're starting to get better product access. We're starting to get better items in. But even with that, everything that the industry can manufacture from now until next August, they already anticipate is sold.
Get out.
They already have purchase orders in place from dealers. We right now as a dealership have over 1,800 bikes on back order status with our different manufacturers that we're just waiting on. And some of those bikes are sold. Some of those bikes have people that want them already. Otherwise, it's just us trying to put inventory in our stores. Normally we stock about 350, 400 bikes between the two stores. Right now, we've got probably 150 bikes total between the two stores. And a lot of that is e-bikes and kind of the higher end road and mountain products. If you want a basic, $700 mountain bike for your kid to ride around on, I think right now between the two stores we've got maybe 10 of them in stock. And those will probably sell before the weekend's over.
Well, that's what you said to me when I stopped and you seduced me with that beautiful bike.
Right. And the one we don't talk about, right?
The one we're not talking about.
The one that his wife is learning about right now.
We're not talking about it. Don't worry about it, baby. I'll sell some more houses. We'll get it. Don't worry.
Can I ask this guy, Shawn, is this the best year in company history?
As far as the demand, for sure. As far as the product coming onto the floor and moving straight out, for sure. It's you get stuff in store and it leaves. So yeah, it's definitely a record year from that perspective. It's also a record year just for the fact that we can't get enough product sometimes to run the business. It's like you guys when it comes to real estate, you've got to have houses to sell in order to be able to make things work. And for us, it's a similar thing. We've got to have bicycles to sell to make the business run. We've got to have parts in order to do the repairs for folks.
I see what you did here, Smith. I see what you did here, Keith Smith.
Yeah, so Jerry's giving me a hard time, but yeah, I mean, I put two and two together.
Yeah.
Somebody asked me the other day, how was, and I pivoted it to actually Shawn's business. Somebody asked me the other day, how's real estate business? How's inventory right now? And I said, do you remember when you couldn't buy toilet paper? Well, that's kind of how the real estate market is. But it's the same thing with your business, right? Jerry's asking you how business is going, and our business is doing great. But if I can't sell something, I don't make money. If you can't sell a bike, right, you're not making any money. You're not turning the key up. I do want to give a quick shout out to your staff. We talk about this on the show all the time, and this is one of the reasons I wanted you to chat with you, because the way you kind of do business, you can either do business transactionally or relationally, and you guys clearly do it relationally. When I walked in, I was a novice. I had no idea what I wanted. I just knew that I couldn't run anymore because of my hips and my legs. Just said, Smith, after 40 years, you're done. And they took their time, and they didn't upsell me. Your staff was spot on. They explained the circumstances. Hey, we got limited, and of course, when somebody walks in and somebody wants to buy a house, when they make that decision to buy a house, they want to buy a house, right? I walked in that door and said, okay, I was ready to buy a bike, and I was like, oh, what do you? And it's just a light bulb just went on that, hey, this is like the housing industry. So I wanted to give a shout out to you. Please pass this along to your staff. They did an outstanding job. Every time I walk in there, they're super receptive. Yes, Mr. Smith. No, Mr. Smith. Just give me your credit card and get out of here.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. It's the bicycle industry is all about relationships.
Sure.
You can sell a bike to anybody. At the end of the year, selling a bicycle doesn't drive the profit. It helps to pay for the overhead, helps
Sure.
to pay for the staff, helps to keep the lights on, that sort of thing. But we're here to go well beyond the sale for folks. The goal with Blue Ridge Cyclery when we opened was to offer a resource to the Charlottesville cycling community to help it grow and help it expand and help it succeed. For us, when we first opened, there was this whole there's not enough pie to go around mentality from other shops that existed at the time. And our whole goal wasn't necessarily to take a piece of the pie, it was to grow the pie. It was to make it so that there was more access, more bicycling, more people able to succeed in the sport.
Great answer.
And the bike itself, when we hand it to you and you go out the door with it, that's just step one. That's getting you started. And for us, our goal is to see you keep riding that bike. And during the pandemic, that's been the thing, is we have so much opportunity to put so many people on bikes. We're seeing dozens and dozens and dozens of people that we otherwise wouldn't have seen because the gyms are closed, or soccer's not happening, or it isn't happening now, but it wasn't. And we're seeing all this opportunity to get people on bikes. And so for us, too, this goes beyond just getting enough product to run a business, getting enough product to sell to folks. It comes down to, we want to help get more people into the sport that we love. The local Charlottesville area mountain bike club, they need volunteers. They need people to help go out and, keep the trails, build the trails. Ragged Mountain Reservoir with all the trails there is a success story in seeing what volunteers can really drive and help to make happen. Pretty Creek, Walnut Creek, all those were built with volunteer resources. And if you look at that, those volunteers who are willing to come out and do that are all folks that got started into the sport and succeeded.
Sure.
They went out there and they got into it. And so for us, this goal isn't just to find bikes to get people to purchase. It's to find bikes to get people to succeed in the sport. And like you said, that has to be a relationship. That can't just be a one and done, walk in, take it off the shelf and walk out the door.
So who's got that formula nailed down? Market Ragged Mountain Running Shop.
Yeah, he's amazing. He's a good friend of ours. We definitely talk to him on a regular basis too. When all this
unfortunately,
kind of started up,
I call him a friend. I'm not so sure if it's conversely back.
Yes, it is.
He's from but he's from Jersey. I'm from Brooklyn. There's got to be that little.
He's your boy.
Yeah. I love him to death.
I think Mark likes everybody. I don't think there's anybody Mark doesn't.
Oh, really?
Like.
Great.
That's
Thanks,
right,
Sean. I thought I was special.
Yeah. I think Mark likes everybody. Yeah. It's amazing. His personality is amazing for sure.
But the formula for his success is exactly the formula you're using. It's not about selling a bike. It's the same thing what we do, right? It's not about helping you sell your house or helping you buy a house. It's about the relationship that we build, and that's how we grow our business, right? We grow our business relationally, not by transaction or anything like that. So.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, and I mean, even in these challenging times of trying to find bikes for folks, there's been cases where we can't get a bike for somebody. I just dealt with one yesterday where we had a bike that we'd taken an order for from someone, and we can't get it before May of next year. I found another dealer that had it up in Pennsylvania and coordinated the purchase for the customer from them, getting it shipped to us so that we can do the build for the customer and get them on their bike. It's the right bike for them to succeed in the sport. It's what's going to get them riding and help them have a good time. And it's as a salesperson, as a business, you don't ever want to have to give up a sale, of course, but it's the big picture. It's the larger end goal that we have to really support in all of this. And it's challenging times for sure.
So you mentioned something earlier, e-bikes. So there is a whole new thing going on with e-bikes, and that's really only been for the last few years. For those, maybe if you wouldn't mind, for those who are not into biking or e-bikes, can you explain exactly what an e-bike is?
Yeah, so an e-bike is a bicycle that has some sort of a drive system to it that is battery powered. So it's an electric bike. There are different varieties of them as far as what the electric motor does and how it kind of works. There's some of them out there that have something that you could kind of consider a throttle. It's a button that you push and the bike will go with it. The ones that we sell and the ones that we utilize, it's a pedal assist system. So you have to pedal the bike, you have to put force into the bike, you still have to go for a bike ride. It just helps you go further and faster. It makes the hills easier. It makes it so that folks who are either recovering from injuries or who want to ride with somebody and they're otherwise range limited, speed limited to be able to ride with someone. There's a discrepancy in fitness that they can't ride with other folks. These bikes really open that window for those folks, and they're just plain fun. From a commuting perspective, you can hop on an e-bike and ride to work and not have to worry about, all right, where's the shower facility?
That's exactly
not have to worry about the second change of clothes. It makes it so that while you still have to exercise, you still got to get out in the fresh air, you still got to do something on a bicycle, you have an easier time of it and you go quicker for it. I like to tell the story of Jip, our North Store manager. We had some demo e-bikes that we were using, and she used to bring those out to the group rides and ride them. And when Jip showed up on her e-bike, to keep up with Jip, and that made it a lot of fun, where it was like all of a sudden somebody who normally you're not chasing through the woods, you're having to work hard to chase through the woods, and they're fun. They're a great time. They come in all kinds of varieties: road bikes, hybrid bikes, mountain bikes. It's something that's been around for probably 15 years now, 10 years now. The technology's been evolving continuously. And it's definitely hit all of the mainstream bike companies now. It's, Trek has some great offerings that they do, but so does Specialized or Giant or any of the other companies too.
So Chip was the one that I was giving a personal shout out to, because she's the one that puts up with me when I show up. So
How long are you there for?
how long I'm there for?
Yeah, when you visit, you're probably there for an hour and change,
let's move on, because my wife is watching. Let's move on.
I can see
Chip's
you.
there all day long, I'm just going to say.
Let's move on. I get kicked out. Let's put it that way. But, back to that e-bike thing, what I thought was pretty cool about it, it really opened up bicycling to a whole new group of people that would never do that.
Absolutely.
People that are a little older, right? Or, the commute thing.
Is yours an e-bike?
It is not an e-bike.
Okay, gotcha.
It is not an e-bike. But our youngest daughter lives out in Seattle, which, as you know, is the bicycle mecca of the world, and so she bikes to school when she was working in person. And she goes, I hate those freaking people on those e-bikes, right? I'm humping up a hill, and they just go zoop right up the hill, right? So, and she's a former Division I athlete, so she's a competitive nature, right? So she's like,
and she's
okay,
your kid.
Screw this, and she busts her butt to go get there, and then she gets to work and goes, oh man, now I got to take a shower.
Sean, what?
Yeah, the e-bikes are fun for sure, and it's. I think a lot of people think of them as being for somebody who's like you said, a little bit older, or a little bit less capable physically, but they're for everyone. They're there's some diehard, dedicated mountain bike riders in this community who have bought e-bikes as their commuting bike. Just because it's a way to replace a car for some folks. If you don't have to drive a car into downtown for the day, you can ride your e-bike down there. It's parking's easier, everything else for sure.
So I'm going to change on. It was one of our talking points, but you made me think of something. So I sit on the Thomas Jefferson Community Land Trust, and we work through a pretty awesome bike ped app. And so how do you feel the city of Charlottesville and the surrounding county as far as bike paths are
Great
doing?
question.
How are we doing? Where can we improve? And the reason I'm asking that is I got a meeting next week, and I might bring some of this information to them. So from your professional opinion, where can we improve?
Everywhere, honestly, everywhere. We're making big steps. We're making great moves. I think a lot of the debate right now is on what type of bicycle infrastructure do we need. People are like, do we need bike lanes that are on the roadways? Do we need separated bike lanes? Do we need clear bike paths? Do we need rail trails? Do we need something that's completely separate from a road that you can commute on or ride on with the family? And I think that the answer to all of that is yes. I think we need graded road type areas where we can ride that don't have cars. There's railroad areas around that aren't being utilized. If you look, outside of the Charlottesville-Albemarle area, there's the cap-to-cap trail that's been put in from, Richmond to Williamsburg. Right. They're currently working on doing one of those. I last heard somewhere north of Richmond, from like Ashland to Fredericksburg or Ashland to the DC area. Something along those lines. Like if you talk to somebody and they're like, hey, where can I take my kid on, this trailer bike to ride? Right now it's like, oh, there's Riverview Park. That's the only paved pathway that's flat where you can do that sort of thing. Sure. The new Berkmar extender, that entire pathway that goes up alongside that is great. You see people walking on it, running on it, biking on it all the time. But it's hilly. It's really hilly, like a lot of Charlottesville is. So from the perspective of what do we need more of everything. We need more bike lanes that are on roads. We need more separated bike lanes from the roadways. The hurdle a lot of times that I encounter with people when I'm talking to them about commuting to work is that they're talking prime time driving and trying to ride a bike alongside those cars. It's not uncommon in the city of Charlottesville that you're riding in a bike lane and all of a sudden the bike lane ends. There's a merge sign, which, I think the joke is that, a lot of people see merge as a personal challenge. You try to, aggressively take your position, and cars and bikes, thumbs up from Brooklyn. The cars and the bikes, the car will win in those circumstances. And I think there's a lot of hesitation for people on, trying to get into commuting of what they can do to make that safer for themselves. And, it's very doable. There are people who are dedicated commuters, every single day that they go to work, rain or shine. and it's very doable, but I think that better infrastructure everywhere is for sure needed.
Well, not to get too technical on it, but to struggle on all that.
I want to mention this to Judah. That was
Sure.
a heck of an answer right there.
There you go.
Sean, Judah, I'd like to play that answer back on our show. Keith's question and Sean's answer. Sean, that was a heck of an answer. And I'm glad you asked that because, there's a lot of folks that ride bikes around here. I personally ride. And I want to ask him about his favorite mountain biking trails. But Sean, if we do make biking in this community more approachable, safe, and accessible, what do you think the results will be of that? And then the second part of my question is, how about the RT? How can we get the RT utilized as that potential loop around the city for people to use sans cars?
You might have to find that RT.
Yeah, he knows the Rivanna Trail.
Got it.
Yeah, Rivanna
Yeah,
Trail.
but-
Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, the Rivanna, I know the RT for sure. The RTF, all of it. The RTF is a multi-surface way to get around town right now. It's, there's sections of it that are paved. There's sections of it that connect on roads. There's sections of it that are basically sidewalk. There's sections of it that are rocks and roots and super awesome fun on a mountain bike. It's so many things to so many people depending on where it is. And I think that that's the challenge with the RT, is that if you take it and try to make it into a paved loop, you're talking about taking away some of the mountain bike sections potentially for folks.
Gotcha.
If you talk about turning it into nothing but a mountain bike loop, then you're taking away the access for somebody who wants to take their kid out on a tricycle. So from that perspective, I think that the RT, as it exists now, we have to find ways to add to it. We have to find ways where, rather than saying, okay, this section that's single track trail, let's take a paving machine and a bulldozer and turn this into a flat gravel path.
Right.
Rather than finding a way to, go destroy that section of paved pathway and make it so that there's a mountain bike trail next to it, or it becomes a mountain bike trail, let's find a way to add to it where if the experience you want on the RT is single track, there's a single track alternative. If the experience you want on the RT is a paved path that circumnavigates all of Charlottesville, let's find a way to add to it to make that happen. And I think that that's kind of got to be our goal with this. Is the RT as it exists now is so multi-surface that you can't make it all of one thing. It just doesn't exist. It's part of the beauty of it. My friend Rick. He was one right over from us. He jogs on our farm. He holds the world record for joggling. I didn't even know this was a thing till I met Rick, but he holds the world record for juggling and running at the same time.
Wow.
I know this too.
Just last weekend, yeah, you should get him on your show too. Fabulous guy. He just ran 100 miles last week around the RT 4 times or 5 times or something like that. Apparently holds the fastest known record for it now.
Wow.
But if you look at that, somebody like him, running trails, running path, running road is a great experience. He did it, 5 times last weekend just for fun, apparently. Similar thing for bicycles. You can get on a mountain bike and you can ride a mountain bike the entire RTF. They're all terrain bicycles, so you can take them on pavement, you can take them on the gravel, you can take them on the single track. You wouldn't have the same experience if you try to take a road bike on it. And so in a lot of ways, we have to find a means to make it so there is an RT alternative for those type of sections.
Well,
Good
that's
answer.
that's my struggle, Sean, as you know, because I was looking at the checkpoint, because I'm looking for something that, because I don't want a mountain bike. I broke my back a couple of times. I just don't feel like falling and getting hurt again, and so I'm looking for something that I can do both things. But as a recovering marathon runner, that you can change the surface because of the way you're running, right? When you're on a bike, it's not so easy, right? And it becomes a very different experience going from paved to not non-paved on it. So we're a little bit over time. I promised you I would get you out a little earlier than the time is right now, as these things tend to go. Is there anything else you want to share, or have we got any questions from the field?
We do have a lot of questions, but I'm curious of Sean, what his perspective that he wants to share. Sean, you're killing this interview, man.
So anything new
Thank
you want to
you.
share, Sean?
No, I mean, I think that, it's great you guys are looking at this, as far as what it's like for the business owners, what it's like for the community, what it's like for the riding right now. And, it's been awesome to see all these people get into this sport. I hope they stay. That's our goal, is to help them stay in this sport. They got a new bike, they got a new helmet, they got their kid a new bike, their kid a new helmet, got them riding, and The pandemic's been so awful in so many ways for so many folks, but I really hope that, something like this is a beautiful reset. It's a great reset for us as a society. It's a great reset for people, where they start taking kind of a hard look at what are the things that matter. Being outdoors, being in the environment, getting exercise, doing things with your kids, doing things with your friends. And bicycling is an access to that for everyone. I think it's, you can say it and you can be like, oh, this is an overglorious way to look at it. But I think in a lot of ways, the bicycle is an answer to so many of society's problems right now.
Wow.
Parking, commuting, traffic, environment, health issues. The bicycle is a very, very simple tool that can solve a lot of what we, every time you go to put up a new building in downtown Charlottesville or build a new shopping thing, like the Coke building that I'm sitting in here now, when they went to put this in, they're like, okay, how do we deal with the parking? Imagine if that equation became, rather than how do we park 75 cars, it became how do we park 75 bicycles? The ease of parking 75 bicycles, infrastructure-wise, is a lot less expensive. It's a lot easier.
That's true.
And the barrier to access right now for folks when it comes to bicycling is what you highlighted earlier. It's the infrastructure. It's the confidence. It's the safety aspect of it. Everybody, I don't meet anybody, obviously, in my business who's not interested in a bicycle. But even folks that I talk to outside of my business are like, oh, I'd love to be able to ride a bike to work, but it's just not safe. They don't have the roads for it. I don't have the parking for it. I don't have the showers at my work. Imagine if you're building a new office and your focus is, all right, how do I park 10 bikes for my employees that are coming in, and where are we putting the 2 showers for folks when they get to work sweaty? It's got to be a societal change. And I kind of feel like in some ways, as terrible as COVID has been, the tragedy that's been for so many folks, the damage it's done to so much business and retail and economic and everything else, I kind of hope that maybe we're seeing a little bit of the start of a reset to where some of these uses of this simple answer, this simple tool, becomes more mainstream, something that we really all look at.
That's a second thing for the show.
Dude, Shawn, you're killing this,
yeah.
Shawn.
Yeah. So, Shawn, if you have the opportunity to watch the show or not,
We'll send it to him.
We'll send it to you. But I chair. Affordable housing is huge to me and huge to everybody. And I chair a couple of organizations and land trusts and regional housing partnership. But I also sit on, and the city sent me out there as a national cohort, and we're working on trying to bring what they call ADUs, auxiliary dwelling units, to meet affordable housing. So I'm very intertwined with the Portland and the Seattle scene as far as this is particularly, and that's what they've done. They've done at the governmental or local governmental level. If you are going to say, hey, I'm going to put X number of bike parking stalls, you can remove all your parking, your physical car parking.
Wow.
And here's the reality, and Shawn knows this. It actually costs more to generate a parking spot than it is, for to purchase the physical ground space for an apartment. It's ridiculous. It's about $25,000 in our market.
It's $50K a parking space.
That's an elevated structure,
Okay.
but a regular flat surface structure is about $25K.
Interesting.
So it's basically $50,000 per unit. When you start working about, apartment complexes, they work them by the door, right? And in our marketplace, it's $15,000 to $20,000 a door, right? That's kind of the norm if you're going to be buying dirt for that. So what you're saying is I'm paying more for a parking spot than I am a door for a house. And this is a solution to that. And the e-bike thing, I think, is really going to explode. The prices are coming down, right? You don't have to, we're trying to eat the elephant one bite at a time. I can get to my job without being super soaked, because let's face it, Seattle is great because it's the same temperature, kind of thing. Here in the middle of the summer,
it's super humid.
It's super humid, but if you can do it with this pedal assist, it's great. So I'm very hopeful. There's a lot of conversations going on about actually really doing something about this. And, like you said, it's a horrible thing that we're going through, but maybe there's some good that's going to come out of it. And this might be one of them.
Thank you, Shawn.
I think we all have to look for the good.
We always do, brother. Hey, Shawn, thank you. And I know you went fishing. Did you catch anything last weekend?
So we ended up not fishing at all. We ended up boating with the kids for my birthday.
Oh, that's right. Happy
camped
birthday.
on the boat. We always, it's camping on both sides that we have. Kids loved it. Wife had a good time. It was excellent, and the water was pleasant.
So when the stripers start running, we'll get you back on, and we can tell some lies.
Perfect. I can tell all kinds of good stories on fish for sure.
Thank you,
Hey,
Shawn.
Shawn, thanks, man. Appreciate your time.
Awesome.
Hey, Shawn, you did really well today, man. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
You have a good one.
You too.
I really, 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 really enjoyed that interview.
Yeah.
What do you think of, how about you personally? What do you think of Charlottesville from a biking standpoint?
Well, it's funny.
Approachable, safe, what do you think? I do a lot of biking in the city.
And I have the bike on the back of my truck, and I'm going to go for biking after my last meeting today.
Around town?
Around town, yeah.
Okay.
It's look, you've got to just map it out. My mindset may be a little bit different than others. I kind of get like super jazzed and challenged about city traffic because
It's an adrenaline rush.
it's an adrenaline
Yeah, I
rush.
feel the same way about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because you and I are wired a little differently than most people.
Yeah.
I do the same thing. I feel like almost it's like Mario Kart around the city here. But I will say that I've been here 20 years. You've been here a lot longer. In my 20 years, I've seen the city
It's getting better.
become more bicycle friendly. And my loop is here, starting at the Macklin on Market Street. I go down Market Street.
Okay, got it.
Then I get by the Lewis and Clark onto West Main.
Okay, you go.
I love biking on West Main because it's that rush you're talking about, and it also has the bike lanes.
Sure.
And there's some
Just finish.
nice scenery.
Finish.
Okay.
Finish.
Then I go down West Main, and then I go through grounds.
Yeah.
Around UPA. Then I backdoor it, so I go by down JPA Fry Springs, and then I go from JPA Fry Springs down to what is that? Elliott no, that's Cherry Avenue, and then I take Cherry Avenue all the way back up, and then come down Cherry Avenue, and then backdoor it back downtown.
Well, they just did a really great road improvement on Monticello.
Yeah?
They if you have an opportunity to go down there, 20.
Okay.
They painted in some really good.
Oh, actually, I saw that.
Bike lanes.
Yeah.
So they're getting better. But what Shawn was saying, and it's this disjointedness of it, right? They have a great trail, whatever it is, or great bike lanes for a certain period of time, and it just ends. Or it goes to, you have to share the road. I'll tell you one thing that they do in Portland and Seattle, which is really neat. We're not really set up the city the same way. Actually, I think they have it in D.C. also. They'll actually just change roads so that one road is just one road is actually a bike lane. You can do back and forth, and then so it works much better on a grid pattern kind of city setup on it. But yeah, the struggle here is the lack of right-of-ways.
Lack of right-of-ways?
Right-of-ways.
Okay.
So we were talking about, Shawn was talking about the railroads.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So we have public right-of-ways and we have private. So if there's public right-of-ways, right, things like VDOT or the city owns it, there's ways to try to figure out something. It becomes a cost item at that point. But for instance, most people probably didn't know this, but you used to way back when be able to take a train from Palmyra to right behind us.
Yeah.
Right. And so over the years, these right-of-ways have been sold, so they're disjointed, right? So the train company, whichever it might be, might own a section, and then Jerry owns a section, and then Keith owns a section. So they're very disjointed. So now you have to negotiate with multiple property owners to go ahead and do that instead of the railroad companies just maintaining or holding it. But that's what happened. But you could have back in the day take a train, commute literally from Palmyra to downtown Charlottesville. There was a train track through that area. So that's the problem. That's the reason why all of a sudden you're on a bike rail and it just ends. Well, that's because there's no infrastructure there, no right of way.
That's why I think the RT is the solution.
Yeah.
I mean, the RT it does an entire loop around Charlottesville.
It does, but
I mean, to his point, it's not even surface. So if you're on a road bike, you're going to find some sticky situations, say down 5th Street Extended.
We just won't do it.
Willoughby, Wegmans area.
That's exactly right.
That is not paved. That is like weaving through the woods.
Well, so that's why I'm looking at this new bike.
The hybrid bike.
Well, no. Trex makes this thing called a Checkpoint, which is a multi-surface road bike that you can do a little bit on both of it. But I have to convince my...
Well, what's the price tag on something like that?
Enough.
Come on.
Enough.
5 Gs?
All set up about that.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Fully loaded?
Yeah, about that, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. She
I mean,
watching?
you've worked hard.
She's watching?
Gee, of course she's watching.
Damn. I'm only
Of course
kidding.
she's
I'm
watching.
only kidding, honey.
Of course she's
After
watching.
I just spent about half of that on the other one I just bought. So
Well, you're saying you don't like the other one now?
I love the other one. But,
Okay.
But what happens is you might need different bikes for different circumstances.
Quinn Beckham.
Just saying.
Quinn Beckham. You hear this guy over here, Quinn Beckham?
Yeah. He told me the other day.
Didn't he get you into biking?
He did. He
Yeah.
did. Well, I mean, him and a bunch of other different folks. I was like, hey, I can't run no more. I need to do something. You know, this is for me less physical, more mental, right? It's just I need
Oh, yeah.
just some mental
Unwind.
I used to call it Zen running. It was my thing, right?
Yeah.
And we'll go ahead and do that. But yeah, you know, you never really know how one of these chats are going to turn out. But that was freaking awesome.
Oh my gosh, dude. He was like getting Socrates, like when he was talking about how the bicycle can solve most of the world's problems.
Well, he sells bikes for a living.
Well, I mean, I understand why he did that. I mean, he's got to do that. Jared Martin says, he's watching the program. Jared Martin says, best bicycle shop in Charlottesville, hands down. The staff is fantastic.
Without doubt. Without doubt. I mean, it's, again, you know, the reason I wanted to tie it into what we do for real estate and help people buy and sell houses, it's the same process, right? You know, you've got to be professional, you've got to be knowledgeable, and it's about the relationships. And there's little minefields that you have to navigate through every transaction. We talk about this on the show all the time, and they're spot on. You know, I was having some problems with the bike, and it really was me doing it. And brought them in, and they fixed it. What do you smile?
No, I like how you say that.
Well, it was me.
It was user error.
It was user error, without a doubt.
More props for Blue Ridge Cyclery. This is coming in from Laura. She says their staff is so knowledgeable. I've taken my bicycle in there for years, and they always put it in good shape when I leave. When I leave with it. Thank you, Shawn, for joining us on the program. You were absolutely fantastic. We have some numbers to get to, my friend.
We do, but I really would like to give a shout out to Dairy Market first.
Oh, Jody Mills is watching.
Yes, and they are just announced that we've got a hot off the press release. I think you talked about it on your show yesterday or your rundown, either one. I can't remember. But they're bringing in some.
The 3 new tenants.
3 new tenants. That's what we want to talk a little bit about. So the first one is the Be Conscious Baking Company. And I did a quick little reading about them. It's pretty cool.
What'd you find?
Well, you know, they're bringing in these organic foods, and it's just really super cool. And I was hoping that if Jody is watching, she can chime in a little bit on it, so I don't do any disjustice to her write-up that she did. But it's pretty cool stuff. You know, it's different baking products, and actually when I went to tour it, when Jody was nice enough to give me a tour, I think I had a little bit of their product. I got a little bit of tasting.
Oh, you did?
It is awesome.
How's it looking over there?
Man.
Is it looking good?
Yeah. I can't wait until folks can see that. It is so... If you don't walk in there and go, wow, you know, and it is designed as COVID friendly. So the second one they're bringing in is Springhouse Sundries.
Yeah.
Right? Sundries, excuse me. Look at that. I can't read. Look.
Well, is it Sundries or Sundries?
I think it's Sundries.
Judah, is it Sundries or
I think it's Sundries.
Is it Sundries or Sundries? Jody Mills, help us out here.
Sundries or Sundries?
Really?
Yeah, look at that, huh?
What is this? This is twice in the show right there.
Twice I got you.
What's Sundries? What is a Sundries?
It's just something small and...
Put your mic on in the camera, please. You're very knowledgeable. We would like for you to be on the show here. Judah camera is about to happen. He does not like to be on the show.
He doesn't. I don't understand why.
Just like small inconsequential items like toilet
cheese.
paper and,
So when you go,
I just learned that word. I did not know that.
So when you if you like wine, so this is what they're going to do. They're going to do wine, beer, and sundries. Well, sundries are just things that come along with it. You know, you want to get crackers, you want to get cheese, something small. And Jody may correct us if we're wrong. Oh, hey, buddy, how's it
Put
going?
the camera on Keith Smith, please. Look what just happened. Look at the show. Look at this. Look now, guys. Look now. Liza, the I Love CVille mascot, got off her leash where she's supposed to be sleeping under Judah's desk, walks on set to the distinguished gentleman because the distinguished gentleman brings her dog treats. And what I mean by dog treats, the distinguished gentleman gives her 10 biscuits every time he sees her.
It's not 10.
She would leave Judah for Keith. Do you not think that, Judah?
Apparently, she just did.
Is she on set right there, Judah? Is she on the show? She is? Dude, one time this happened, and it was a gentleman who I will not use his name.
Oh, doesn't like dogs.
He was freaking terrified of dogs.
Oh, really?
And
you don't need a chaser.
Liza was hanging under the desk, so he never saw her at all. Just started doing the show. And in the midst of a live broadcast, the first time he saw her was like this, and she walked over to him, and he was like a 6'4" jacked guy, former athlete, jumped out of his chair, terrified. She's the best dog, right?
Go.
There you go.
Underneath the thing. Go.
So we got to get back. We got to get back to Dairy Market.
Get.
Dairy Market.
Sorry, I was getting some loving from little old Liza there. So that's what sundries are. Sundries are small things. And then the Manila Street, right? So that's a great thing. They're moving from their food truck to their space, or they're keeping both. I may have that a bit wrong. But I think what I wanted to take a moment to shout out here is as Jody and everybody over there at Dairy Market starts releasing this, you're getting a really great picture of what this space is going to be like. Right, so they've got Star Hill, which I wandered through that facility. When that thing gets open, it is going to be awesome. And they have all these cute little smaller shops, and they're going to basically have this big, huge food hall. And the reason I love it, it's very much like you would see in Europe or in Germany, right? There's these huge food halls, and it'll be so COVID friendly. Plus, they got a ton of outside seating. So I just wanted to spend a little bit of time and give them a shout out.
Oh, fantastic!
They are going to do this.
What's the opening?
Well, I'll let Jody chime that in. I don't want to take Jody's thunder or say a date that is incorrect, but it's very soon. It's very soon. It'll be before the end of the year. I know that much, but I don't want to give a date and turn out to be incorrect, and then she goes, Smith, what did you do? So
I can't wait for them to open.
Yeah, it's going to be. It is amazing with that neighborhood, and as somebody that sits on the Thomas Jefferson Community Land Trust, which I want to give a thanks out to you and the network. You guys are doing some great work pushing that out. Well, it means the world to us on it. But we have a project that is pending.
Jody says December 5th.
Thank you, Jody. I wanted you to say that, not me.
She says we're thrilled to bring in these new tenants. And it's okay. I was wrong. It was sundries.
Sundries. That's what I thought.
Iris Lux says think miscellaneous items you can buy in a special area near a hotel front desk.
There you
Iris.
Go. Well,
very nicely done.
Or
Iris.
a better way to do it is I got a bottle of wine. Now I got to have something with it. That's the important part.
And Jody hearted Iris Lux's comment, so that must have been a really good indication of what it is. So I literally just learned a word today.
Well, Jody's a class act, so it's just...
Think miscellaneous items you can buy in a special area near a hotel front desk. Interesting. I literally just learned a word today.
So... Who knew, right? I'm teaching you words.
Yeah, Neil Williamson's watching. He just gave us... Neil, did you learn that word today, Neil? Or did you always know that word?
I think Neil's on vacation. He shouldn't be watching this.
Neil, are you on vacation?
I know he's on vacation.
Okay, he is on vacation.
Stop watching this. Go put your feet in the ocean or something.
He's in the ocean.
Could be. Maybe.
Okay. Are you blowing up the man's spot over there?
Maybe. Could be.
Yeah?
Don't know. Yeah, he's a matter of fact, he was kind enough to send me his donation link to that, and we'll bury that in today's show feed later on today. You need to give a little love to
To Neil Williamson.
Neil Williams.
Free Enterprise Forum.
And the Free Enterprise Forum.
How about some statistics, digits, and numbers, my friend?
Yeah, so we're going to try something different with our little whiteboards here today. So I've been tracking.
I like whiteboards.
There you go. I've been tracking. I gave you the same set of numbers. So I've been tracking week over weeks. So we've been talking about this 25-mile radius. No new construction.
Yeah?
Right.
Are we talking about our bet? I just want to use the whiteboard on something here. You got your pen. Let's go, Professor Smith.
Just write something on the whiteboard and make you feel happy, okay? Good Lord. So week over week, so we're going to do the last 3 weeks, this being week 3, 2,
Sure.
1.
Yeah.
So week 3, in that 25-mile radius, we have an active of 67, pending of 84. So that's a difference. We're up 17. So that's week number 3.
Okay.
Right?
What is that number on the other side of the 17?
No, so that's an arrow that goes up.
Okay. That's an up arrow.
That's
All
an
right,
up
let's
arrow.
show that on camera. So we see that. Judy, you got that on camera there
So
with the
that's
distinguished gentleman?
so
that's good.
That's an up arrow.
Active versus pending. A up top, pending on the bottom. You're up 17. I'm with you.
We're up 17. That's week 3. So that's the week that just ended. Week number 2, again, A equals active, P equals pending. We are 43 was active week number 2. 63 went pending. So we were up 20. So that's a little arrow. We were up 20.
Love it.
We're going down, though.
Yeah, well, I'm talking about your arrow.
Got it. So the first week, we were active 33, and we went pending 67, so we were up 34. Last 3 weeks. So what does that look like to you?
I mean, you want my real answer right there?
Yeah, sure. That's
Going the
fine.
wrong direction.
It's going down.
Yeah.
Well, maybe
It's going
not,
down.
but maybe it's not going in the wrong direction.
Okay, tell me about that.
So what we're doing is we've been talking about the need for inventory to be increased. Now, keep in mind, this is just this 25-mile radius, no new construction. So this current week, we had 67. We went under mark 84, so we were at 67 active. Week number 1 was 33. So that's 30 plus units that week over week that increase. So we've been talking about the need for that, right? The need for inventory to increase, and I think we're starting to see that. And I think the slowing down. We're not the slowing down of pendings. I think there's not much really to talk too much about. Week 1, week 2 was around 60. Week 3 was 80. So that's a 20 unit jump, which is pretty sizable. But I think the absorption is rolling pretty consistent. But we're still upside down. We need more inventory, and that's kind of what I wanted to talk a little bit about at the rest of the show, if we got time.
Sure.
Is why now is the key time to sell before the spring. But I do want to, before we go into that, I do want to talk, because thank you to our dear friend and trumpet player.
Ray Cadell?
Exactly right. And fellow who hopefully will follow us around next Friday. I wanted to talk a little bit about...
Next Friday, if you don't know, we're going to do this show in a Batman and Robin costumes. And Judah, the director, is going to be Alfred, with Liza on set in a Bat Dog costume. I just found out we're not doing it on Tuesday, although we're taking photos on Tuesday.
Yes.
Okay.
I think I'm pretty
That's probably the most appropriate.
Well, I don't know appropriate or not, but I'm pretty sure Charlottesville's not going to be able to handle you and I wandering
Well, that's
around.
why I said it's the most appropriate. We probably shouldn't have it for 2 days in a week. That could terrify some people.
So over the hill, right, on the other side of the mountain, week 3, active was 36, pending was 27, so it's actually a down number. We're down by 9 units on that, and I'll show everybody this as soon as I finish writing it. Week number 2, we were 20 active, 34 pending, So that number was up 14.
Yep.
In the first week, we were active 16, pending 32, and we were up on that 16. So for whatever reason, I didn't get a chance to look into it in great detail this morning, but this last week we were down. So we actually ended up having more.
Say it on the mic, Judah.
Lift it up a little bit.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. We were. We had kind of a reverse of the active versus pendings, which I actually look as a healthy thing. That means we've got more product coming on the other side of the mountain. So we'll see how that tracks in the next couple of weeks. And, I want to say thank you. We really should be looking at the other side of the mountain.
Oh, definitely.
On a regular basis.
I told you a lot of folks in my age demographic are doing that.
Well, why is that?
Well, I mean, the price point.
That's exactly right.
What you're getting for the buck.
That's exactly right. So
and you're seeing, you're seeing this as well. We're seeing a lot of Charlottesville brokers opening up offices there.
That's exactly right.
Aren't you seeing that?
Well, it's just a logical trend, right?
And it's not that far.
It's that, but you're starting to see the same thing in green. You're starting, things that we've been talking about. God, it seems like a year and a half now, right? 2 years now. Where these other markets are going to go, and that's what's going to happen. Now the only caveat to that's going to be is if fuel goes up through the roof.
I don't think it will.
Nobody ever knows.
Why? Do you think it will?
I don't know, right? It wasn't $4. It was $4 a gallon or $3 a gallon.
$3.80 and change. That was what, like 2009?
That's exactly right.
And that contributed to the collapse, just because any disposable income was being stretched so far different ways. With the rise of EV vehicles, electric vehicles, I just can't see. I don't know.
No, it's twofold to that.
Yeah.
That's not even on our pre-production meeting. Two things about that. Much like what we just talked about with the e-bikes, right?
Yeah.
So I've been looking at e-bikes forever.
Okay.
And they were, frankly, extremely expensive.
Absolutely.
They're starting to drive down a little bit.
Just like the cars.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
So you're going to start to see that a little bit. And if you go over to Dairy Central, they have EV chargers spots on it. You're starting to see that in almost everything. The parking garage that I park to come over here has 2 or 3, I can't remember, maybe 4 EV. And you know what? Every time I pull in there,
someone's using it.
They're full.
Yeah,
they're in there.
Yeah,
to go, which is going to. But you're 100% right, and the ranges are going. Much,
Hummer. I talked about this yesterday.
I saw that.
The price tag is a little scary. $112K for that new Hummer that's going to be released next year. But the thing looks dope, and it has a 350-mile radius or range. Excuse me, range.
Yeah, and they I was trying to sweet talk my. Better 7/8 into buying
the Hummer?
No, a Tesla.
Oh, okay.
But
you can drive a Tesla. I can see you there. The Tesla price, the entry Tesla, I think, is in the 30s.
If you read an article, he's just lowered the S down.
To?
I don't remember the number, but he's lowering the entry level into.
That guy's a freaking genius. Musk.
Without doubt.
Multiple companies.
Yeah, sure.
Going to space.
Yeah, a little crazy, but
a lot of them are.
Yeah, well, you don't get to do that unless
unless you're thinking not like the normal people.
That's exactly right. But yeah, so you're 100% right. So it's amazing. The one thing that is absolutely for sure is change.
Yeah.
And how you adapt to that change and how you kind of move to it and foresee it. But you're 100% right. I don't see these outer areas going away. And if we end up, if these EV vehicles start exploding, which I think they will.
I think they definitely will.
Very dear friend of me personally and a dear friend to the Land Trust, Bob Pino, who I want to bring on the show one day. He's a great architect here. Right, his office is right on the downtown mall over there. I met him the other day, and he has a Chevy Volt, I think it's called.
Yeah.
No, whatever their smaller version of it, and he absolutely loves it. Got his company's name plastered all over it. He gets like 200-300 miles. Christopher Bremet, who's a friend of the show and a local builder, has a 3, and he drives up to New York with it. And I think he has like a 3-something mile radius on it. They stop halfway for lunch, plug it in while they're eating lunch for 45 minutes, and go.
There it is.
But you're 100% right. That's the fix. That's it. So if those things start increasing, it doesn't matter what fuel does.
Right.
And then the growth, and then COVID has just exploded this outside thing. We mentioned last Tuesday. I mean, this time last year, I would have bet you a bottle of bourbon that I would not be telling you somebody was doing multiple offers on a piece of property, a home, a $550-something thousand home in Nelson County at the foot of Wintergreen, not even in Wintergreen, multiple offers sold within 24 hours.
It's amazing.
Would you have thought that a year ago?
No, heck no.
So, that's what people are doing. They're going out there, and we might
My
have...
buddy's buying a starter home.
Mm-hmm.
Won't say his name.
Got it.
Recently married.
Mm-hmm.
6 different homes made offers.
Sure.
No luck on any of them. The last 3, he did escalators in them. Still didn't get them.
Yeah, well...
He said the homes that he's trying to buy, and Keith, these are starters.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
But that's the point I'm trying to make, is those multiple offers were usually... You saw them, the last 6 or 12 or 24 months at the entry-level price point.
Yeah.
You're now seeing them in the mid-range and potentially the upper-range price point. But I think that upper-range stuff is a lot of fourth quarter going on. I think some people want to get their money spent depending on how the election goes, so they don't have any capital gains exposure.
Yeah.
And
sure.
So I think that's a lot of that going on. But as far as the entry level goes, it's just a supply and demand. If you take a look at it, that's the reason people are going on the other side of the mountain. The medium sales price on the other side of the mountain is $250,000.
And in Charlottesville?
And in Charlottesville, hold on a second.
250. What was that number?
250.
Okay.
5 days on market, by the way.
250, 5 days on market.
Should we use the whiteboards?
Waynesboro. You love the whiteboards.
So it's actually something we should talk about. And maybe we'll save Tuesdays for the time to sell your house on it. But on the other side of the hill in October, there was 121 units sold, 5 days DOM, and the median sales price was $250K. I know people can't read my handwriting, but right. Conversely to last year, same period of time, that number was 91. Days on market was 31, and the sales price was $213. That's the same on the other side of the mountain. That's the same month, same time, 10/1 to what's today? I can't remember.
It's not that far.
No.
What are we talking? An extra 50,
Well, it depends. It depends.
where you're working. Yeah, what part you're entering on Charlottesville. I totally get it.
Sure.
It's not that far.
No.
The tree streets in Waynesboro. Have you been to the tree streets in
I
Waynesboro?
love the tree streets
Yeah.
in Waynesboro.
I mean, it is beautiful.
I love I don't know if I can say it right. Staunton.
Stanton. Stanton's great.
Staunton.
The Stanton downtown is charming.
Love it.
Yeah.
They
Walk
got-
around, quaint. Everyone knows your name. You just wanted to use your whiteboard.
I want to use my
You
wife. I
wanted to
love
use
my
it. Look at
whiteboard.
a kid in Christmas over here.
Yeah. Well, I got you a whiteboard.
I'm grateful.
You can play too.
You're very generous.
There you go. So here in Charlottesville, same thing. 10/1 to today, 227 units sold, 18 days on market, $334K in the medium sales price. So it's 227, 18, 334. Right? Same time frame last year in 19 was 165. Days on market were 32. And median sales price was 307.
Nuts.
But we need inventory, guys. We need stuff to sell. and I was going to get into a bunch of neat slides about why selling your home is important in this, now before the spring hits. Is I think you're going to see these inventory numbers start going up, which is good. I mean, that's what we want. That's what we've been wanting.
I think that's definitely going to happen.
It's going to happen if you're in the mood or in the market or, ready to sell.
Do it ASAP.
Do it ASAP. And
people are feeling more confident.
That's true.
And as they're feeling more confident, they're more willing to consider selling their home. And you're saying as more inventory gets in the market, it's going to change the dynamic of what's happening.
Slide 2, if you don't mind. So these are the 5 things that every seller wants. And now's the time to get those 5 things. And the reason that you can get these 5 things is the interest rate is ridiculously low. And thank you. If you can leave that up there for a few seconds, I appreciate that, Judah. So the reality of it is this is something I've never seen in my 30 some odd years of doing this, where it's kind of a buyer's market and a seller's market simultaneously, because because of the interest rate, you can afford a little bit more home. You can go out there and do it. But everybody wants to get their house sold. That's pretty obvious. They want the highest price. Right now is the perfect time, as the numbers are proven to you. They want to do it in the least amount of time, right? In here, it's 18 days on market. On the other side of the mountain, it's 5. Time is money, right?
Yeah.
To sell it without any hassles. And that's why you want to use a trusted advisor. That's why you want to use a realtor. That's the reason why you don't want to do a FSBA. We talked about that on Tuesday, for sale by owner. You don't want the hassles. This is a tremendous amount of work to get through it. And at the end of the day, we're going to get you 6% more as a realtor. Oh, by the way, if you bring in one of our great sponsors, Pearl, I like the way I worked that in there, huh? I'm on fire today, huh?
You are very nice,
right?
Very nice.
Right? You can. It's proven you'll get 5% more. So Pearl comes in, so you're going to get 6% right off the bat. If you're going to bring in Pearl, you're going to get 5%. You bring in interest.
1126. We got to get rolling.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we got to get going. He's giving me the look over here.
Okay.
He's like, I got to get ready for the next show. Look at him. Okay. Thank you.
I pet your dog and everything. I feed him bones, and you can't let me talk a little bit longer. That's called a little Irish Catholic guilt. How did it go?
I think it's been effective on him.
We're gonna talk more about this on
Tuesday.
On Tuesday. More whiteboards.
I like the whiteboards. I say bring more whiteboards. I really like the series you're doing with the business owners.
I'm trying to bring folks.
It's good.
Yeah,
you know who and Judah, I know we'll get out of here in a second. His business and the gangbusters that he's doing reminds me of Patty Zeller at Animal Connection.
Yeah, sure.
Since people during COVID, they're wanting to be outside more with their dogs and exercise, because they can't do it. I mean, they can, but there's less confidence to do it inside. You know what I'm saying?
I do, and I'm happy to report I've got Liza dog hair all over my jacket.
You should see what's under my desk over there.
I had a.
It's one of the perks of his job is bringing the dog to work every day.
Oh man, well, I love you guys, but I really love her. So yes, you can keep my whiteboard, sir.
Thank you.
That is for you, and that is for you to use on your noon show.
I will work it in somehow.
I'm gonna get you a little sticker logo for the Yes teams. You can put on the bottom.
I knew you would do that. The Yes Team Realtors are trusted advisors in the game. Whether you're watching the show on social media, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, Snapchat, YouTube, TikTok, or you're listening to it, as your friends have indicated, on Spotify, iTunes, or Apple Podcasts.
It's just a shout out to you and what you guys do here. And
we put it everywhere.
I'll leave names out of it, but there was a physical therapist that came to our house, and
she recognized you by your voice?
By my voice.
That's interesting.
Scary.
Almost terrifying.
It's a little scary.
Yeah.
Oh, you're the guy.
Yeah.
And I went, I didn't do it.
I know, whatever you think it is, it wasn't me.
Unless you got video.
Right.
And then I think it's altered.
And there is video.
I think it's
but
altered.
for this particular, it was audio for her.
Yeah, so she's driving between...
That's how a lot of the listeners do it.
Yeah, man, it was like, hold it.
They Bluetooth their car or their truck.
This was Tuesday's show. Apparently she watched what's today, Friday, Thursday.
Yeah.
And said, yeah. And she said, a little less of that Batman and Robin stuff.
Is that what she said?
No,
Did you ask her for any constructive criticism?
I did, actually. Of course I did. She said she loves our little banter, actually.
Yeah, that's what people
She said
want.
she was laughing her proverbial little tiny hiney off in the car, driving. And I said, well, geez, I don't want to be responsible for anybody to get
Yeah, traffic accident.
or get a speeding ticket. But thanks to Shawn, that was a great interview, so we've got a couple other folks online to come on in, but I'm excited about next Tuesday. We're going to do something a little bit different. Next Friday, I'm excited about.
Me too. Can't wait. Next Friday, a week from today, he's going to be in a Batman costume from toe to head to toe. I'm going to be in a Robin costume from head to toe. Judah is going to be dressed up as Alfred, and then Liza will have on set dressed up as Bat-Dog. If you want some blackmail material on Keith Smith, you watch the show on Friday.
All I got to do is watch it twice a week, and they'll find tons of blackmail.
I've messaged the folks at City Hall and at the Albemarle County office
did you really
building.
do that?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
I said, you need to watch us a week from today. Watch Keith Smith in a Batman costume.
Oh, no.
And hey, how about this? Speaking of City Hall, Charlottesville City Councilor Sina McGill will be on my show today to talk about the land trust.
Yes.
Did you know that?
I knew that. I had a great conversation with her about the land trust earlier this week, and she's a huge supporter, so I'm excited. She used to actually live in a land trust town.
That's what we're going to talk about.
Yeah,
Sina McGill on the show today to talk about the land trust. Keith Smith, Yonna Smith, trusted advisors in the game, A+ people, class acts. Well, Yonna Smith. Keith is A+, honest.
Give me back my whiteboard.
Full of character and integrity, full of something. The Yes Team Realtors are trusted advisors in the game. Yes, sir.
So quick wrap up. I know we're running late here, but what I'd love to do is we're going to do a little push out on, say, Wednesday and Thursday for Friday's show. I'm going to have 0 topics for the show. We would love people to
Friday show
for Friday chime
Q&A.
in, just Q&A, chime in. Whatever's on anybody's mind, what do they want to ask Batman?
Q&A a week from today. That rhymes. Q&A a week from today.
You're not a marketing guy by any chance, are you?
Oh, wordsmith. This is Real Talk, presented by the Yes Team Realtors, Tuesdays and Fridays from 10:15 to... Thank you guys for joining us today. Keep it local, guys. Keep it local.
Please.
You guys have a good one.